Thanks for joining our special live coverage of the South Korea-Uzbekistan summit. The leaders of the two countries are about to sign their agreements and make them public in a joint press conference. While we wait for that, we are joined by Professor Dula Bekishov. Welcome.
Thank you.
So before we delve into the summit and the results of the summit, let's start with the basics of this country, Uzbekistan. Tell us.
So Uzbekistan is probably the most important country in terms of geography. Tashkent is in the middle of Central Asian region, and Uzbekistan borders with all other four Central Asian countries: Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and Kyrgyzstan.
Well, President Yoon Suk-yeol has called Uzbekistan a brother nation. Now, how far do South Korea and Uzbekistan go back?
So, historically speaking, Samarkand city has Afrasiab museum, and it contains a picture of Koguryo envoys visiting Central Asia. So, you know, more than 1,000 years ago, two peoples had diplomatic relations. So I think it goes deep into history.
What's interesting is that Uzbekistan has the largest population in Central Asia, more than Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan. Now, how is that an appealing characteristic to us, South Korea?
I think it's very important because demography is about economy, about exchanges, and about trade, about education and science, etc. So I think it's a very important factor.
Right, and especially noteworthy that a lot of people there are really young, because the young population, it can be considered as a barometer of, like you said, the economy.
Right.
Well, just like Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan is potentially an attractive partner for South Korea when it comes to critical minerals and core minerals and natural resources. Now, what makes Uzbekistan more special over other countries?
I think Uzbekistan had very special relations with South Korea after gaining independence. President Kim Il-sung visited Uzbekistan in 1994, ahead of other Central Asian republics. For example, with Kazakhstan, summit meeting in Kazakhstan, Seoul had happened in 2004 when the late President Roh Moo-hyun visited Kazakhstan, so after 10 years. So Uzbekistan probably is a very important country for South Korea.
Well, very critical. Then in what other particular fields should we pay special attention to when it comes to collaborating with Uzbekistan?
I think after coming into power in 2016, President Mirziyoyev paid particular attention to industrialization, building industrial facilities, production facilities, etc. And it has, as you said, young population, huge population in our region, and people need jobs, and one of best way of attracting good paying jobs is talking to Korean leaders, Korean chaebols or medium companies to come with their technology and the facilities, know-how to build a joint venture with Uzbekistan to sell products in Uzbekistan or in Central Asia and beyond.
Right, and President Yoon Suk-yeol couldn't stress enough how important it is for Central Asian countries to, participate in dealing with North Korean issues, including nuclear and missile development. How can Uzbekistan play a constructive role here? I mean, why does that matter to Uzbekistan anyway?
We are members of UN, and now South Korea is a chair in UN Security Council,
right,
as
rotating,
a non-permanent member of this council. It is obviously very important for South Korean diplomacy to be active in this field. Yesterday, there was a talk about North Korea's human rights. And 5 votes from Central Asian countries will be important whenever these issues, missiles, nuclear, etc., will come up to the table at General Assembly. When a vote will be proceeded, then South Korea can be assured by Central Asian states about their support.
Right. And the leaders of South Korea and Uzbekistan will also probably took their time to broaden their cooperation in strategic areas, including advanced science technology hub. Now, in what way, how can they collaborate on this?
I see there are many ways. It depends on what Uzbekistan wants and what South Korea can provide and where they meet each other at which point. But Uzbekistan as an independent country from 1991, like Kazakhstan or Turkmenistan, needs knowledge, needs science and technology innovation from countries like South Korea. South Korea is not only a powerhouse in semiconductors, etc., but also has very strong scientific foundation. So I think it is a good partner for Uzbekistan to be in close cooperation and collaboration in this area.
Definitely, Uzbekistan being the provider of those natural resources and South Korea being the processor of those minerals and to produce chips and semiconductors. Yoon's Central Asia trip is also all about bringing people closer together. Professor, what does that mean? I mean, how can that be done?
I think this is the most important part because in our time, 21st century, government's abilities or capacities are limited. You have to involve people. You need in every state people's support for your initiative or program. So people contact means first of all visiting each other, meeting, be it private citizens or private companies or institutions, the students' exchanges, etc. K-Wave is also one of vehicle how to influence Central Asian countries. I mean, South Korea's soft power.
Right, definitely. Now, and President Yoon has held numerous rounds of summits with numerous leaders from all around the country. He's been hosted and has hosted so many other leaders. The question is, why Central Asia and why now?
This is a very good question. Thank you, Dami, for this question. I think the reason is we are living in a world when you need allies, you need countries supporting your policies, building new ventures, producing critical minerals, producing necessary goods for world markets. So Central Asia is young, countries also young, population-wise also young, so there are limitless possibilities and resources in this region. It is a timely visit, I think, to Central Asian key states like Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, and Uzbekistan. And it will be beneficial for South Korea, and it will be beneficial for our countries in Central Asia, because South Korea can offer what we need, and we have what South Korea needs.
Definitely. And we briefly talked about this, how this whole Central Asia trip is going to be a great opportunity for Korean firms in, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan to thrive. Now, let's talk more about that. How can they be thriving and flourishing?
We have a proverb in my country which can be translated like, in economy you need 100 flowers to blossom. Oh. So there are many ways. South Korea has great chaebols, captains of business worldwide, but also I think Korea's leadership elites also are concerned, also people, especially people are concerned about diversification, giving more opportunities to medium and small-sized companies. It is a good opportunity for them to be involved in Central Asian countries. There are new projects, new horizons, and these companies can grow with Central Asia because definitely for coming dozens of years, Central Asia will be developing fast in terms of economy, in terms of social policies, and Central Asian countries have to tackle many issues, including environment, decarbonization, etc., where South Korea can be of help.
Speaking of environment, tackling global issues like climate change, how can Uzbekistan or other Central Asian countries can take part in this? I mean, South Korea has been trying so hard because as we all know how difficult it is to overcome those climate change issues, namely find us. How can those countries take part in this?
I see from President Biden's agenda, he's investing a lot of money. He's providing tax, other incentives. So, I mean, governments have to play a lead role.
Definitely.
Because private sector cannot handle it is very difficult. So governments worldwide and the governments, for example, in South Korea, government can do a lot. It should lead, and it's providing a lot of incentives for example, if you buy Hyundai Kia cars here, yeah, you are getting, handsome support from your government. So, likewise, in Central Asian countries, also these policies are being undertaken, and our specialists and government officials can learn from South Korea's modern approaches.
Indeed. So it looks like the signing ceremony and the summit results in a joint press conference are getting delayed. In the meantime, though, President Yoon Suk-yeol has sitting down still for a summit with his Uzbek counterpart right now at the moment, but he is hopeful Seoul's special strategic partnership with Uzbekistan will scale up their cooperation in energy and critical minerals. Our correspondent Oh Soo-young tells us more what to expect from the talks.
President Yoon Suk-yeol plans to ramp up South Korea's special strategic partnership with Uzbekistan through stronger cooperation in resources and infrastructure, as well as cutting-edge technology. In a written interview with an Uzbek media outlet published Thursday, ahead of his state visit to the Central Asian country, Yoon said he aims to bolster bilateral ties to become more mutually beneficial and future-oriented. Since establishing diplomatic ties in 1992, South Korea and Uzbekistan have broadened the scope of their economic cooperation to include automobiles, energy, electronics, textiles, finance and telecommunications, with bilateral trade hitting an all-time high of $2.46 billion last year. Yoon said his three-day visit will aim to build on the two countries' special strategic partnership forged in 2019 and establish close cooperation on energy, infrastructure and supply chains, and crucially, critical minerals to power Korea's high-tech industries, including semiconductors. The president highlighted advanced digital technology and AI semiconductors as key areas of collaboration. In a summit with Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev and a bilateral business forum scheduled Friday, Yoon also plans to back Korean companies in their efforts to secure local energy and infrastructure projects and make inroads into other industries.
So far, Korea-Uzbekistan relations have made remarkable progress centered on the energy and infrastructure fields. And today, cooperation is expanding to more diverse fields such as supply chains, healthcare, climate change, education, and public administration.
Acknowledging the 170,000 ethnic Koreans living in Uzbekistan, Yoon described it as a brother nation, as it's the only country in the region that has a special strategic partnership with Korea. He also pledged greater interest and support for overseas Koreans going forward. President Yoon says he hopes the two sides will create a 21st century Silk Road through broader cooperation and human exchanges in cutting-edge fields, and as core partners of Seoul's new K-Silk Road initiative designed to boost engagement with Central Asian countries in economic security, development and culture. 오수영, 아리랑뉴스, Tashkent.
So still, we are waiting for the joint press conference to be delivered by the leaders of South Korea and Uzbekistan. In the meantime, Professor, I have to ask you, how is the tourist people-to-people exchanges going between the two countries, South Korea and Uzbekistan? Do a lot of people from Uzbekistan visit South Korea or vice versa?
Before COVID-19, we used to have great exchanges between Central Asian countries and Korea. I have some figures, but old. For example, for Kazakhstan, before COVID, we used to have around 50,000 people visiting Korea. But last figures I have seen is now at the level of 15,000, so 3 times less. But good thing about this visit. For example, in Kazakhstan, they were signing of MOUs about frequency of flights. Now we have restored from tomorrow. Actually, hopefully, will be restored a direct flight between Seoul and Astana.
Right.
Number of flights, we used to have 11 flights. Now we are going to have around 42 flights. So it is a fourfold increase, and it is good for tourism. I think Uzbekistan has a similar increase of flights. I know that recently Kyrgyzstan opened direct from Bishkek to Seoul direct flights. So I think these things will improve, exchanges in tourism area.
Right. I'm sure you know the direct figures because you served as the ambassador right before the pandemic. Now, we talked about increasing the number of flight routes, but what other ways can be done to, really bring out that people-to-people exchanges? Because that can be broad,
I think it is a twofold issue. One is domestically, South Korea could have, more advertisement in our countries, and in our countries we need improvement of certain infrastructure for tourists. Maybe we need to have better transportation, better quality of hotels, etc., cheaper flights, probably accessible flights, because, for example, Central Asia is a huge territory. So we need to accommodate foreign tourists, and maybe we need to cooperate, not country by country, but Central Asia as a whole, and target South Korean tourists, and vice versa.
Right. Infrastructure is among many of the fields that South Korea and Uzbekistan are going to work on together, on top of core minerals and critical minerals.
Right.
Professor, we are still waiting for the press conference to begin, but let's talk more about what Uzbekistan can offer South Korea other than critical minerals.
I think that South Korean companies could benefit from abundance of labor resources in Uzbekistan, and not only in Uzbekistan, but population of Central Asian countries are young.
Definitely.
Aging is not an issue for Central Asian countries so far.
Completely opposite.
Right. So I think that is an issue, and it will be good for Central Asian governments to provide good jobs for the citizens. And I think also a very pertinent issue is not only thinking about our countries or our markets, but I think we could collaborate and target foreign markets. We are located strategically between big countries like India, China, Iran, Turkey, etc. So Central Asia's strategic location can be also of help for Korean businesses.
Definitely, human resources are critical in terms of, growing the economy. And Uzbekistan is the last leg of President Yoon's week-long Central Asia trip. So he visited Kazakhstan previously. Now, how did you see that trip? I mean, let's talk about the outcomes. What particular field or MOU or agreement stood out to you the most?
I went through a joint statement by two heads of state, and in political part, I have noticed that we are going to cooperate and collaborate in the area of peaceful use of nuclear energy. EAIA is also a very important venue, institution for us to work not only bilaterally but worldwide. And we have agenda for cooperation in terms of weapons of mass destruction, not only nuclear but biological and chemical. In terms of economy, I would like to point out that Doosan Hyundai Engineering they are doing good. They are going to participate in some infrastructure projects, electricity, for example. Doosan has experience in working in Kazakhstan. In 2014, Doosan built Karabatan electricity facility in Caspian area. So definitely Doosan is a major player in our market. And by the way, chairman of Doosan had a separate meeting with Kazakh president during this visit.
Right.
I would like to also emphasize that KAIST, Korea's top education science institution, is going to open its branch in Turkestan, historic Silk Road city of Kazakhstan. Kazakh government or Kazakh partners will be building a special building or complex for KAIST in Central Asia, located in Kazakhstan's Turkestan city. And in AI, Seoul Tech will open department for AI in Kızılorda region. It is Aral Sea area of Kazakhstan. So many things are happening. We cannot cover probably all the items or all the achievements during this visit. No need to say about Samsung's activities. It seems that Samsung is building or opening a facility for home appliances along with LG. There are many, many outcomes. So I think overall visit to Kazakhstan was very successful, meaningful, with concrete results. Both sides agreed to increase uranium supplies from Kazakhstan because Kazakhstani uranium is a major product in Korea's power generation. Kazakhstan is a #1 producer of uranium in the world and has been providing Korea with uranium for decades.
Right. If I'm not wrong, Kazakhstan is the producer, is responsible for producing over 40% of uranium just back in 2022. That's how important Kazakhstan has risen as a country like that. Now, and also on top of that, it's on top of critical minerals. So there's so much to explore between Central Asian countries and South Korea, between South Korean and Central Asian countries when it comes to securing supply chains of core minerals, infrastructure, transportation, like you mentioned, people-to-people exchanges. Now, after achieving all that, what future do you see ahead between the two regions?
I think this Silk Road initiative is an upgrade for South Korea's strategies before. We have seen this, targeting Uzbekistan first and other countries. Then we have seen this North policy or Eurasian context. now we have arrived where we should be. It is Silk Road, because Silk Road is who we are. It is our mentality, it is our history, it is our identity. So in road, Korea added R as resources, then O is ODA, then A assistance, D drive. Assistance and drive are very important. It seems that governments will be following up outcome documents, outcome projects, and I'm sure this is a critical element of bilateral relations, to follow up through, and I'm sure potential is here, and the potential is in Central Asia. Just we need to link, we need to maximize outcome from our inputs.
Right, the so-called K-Silk Road initiative is indeed an ambition of the Yoon administration. Professor, we did discuss this earlier about how President has been emphasizing how important it is for Central Asian countries to, participate in dealing with North Korea issues. Now, South Korea has been dealing with so much when it comes to security, regional security here on the Korean Peninsula. Is there any particular reason or Central Asian countries that have to take part in keeping that regional peace, not just here on the Korean Peninsula, but overall keeping regional security?
As I said, Silk Road is our history. Historically, Central Asia was in the center of Silk Roads.
Right.
And our part was providing security to exchanges, to trade, etc. Kazakhstan, for example, has an initiative called SICA, Conference on Interaction and Confidence Building Measures in Asia. And it has 28 member states and more than 10 observer states. Republic of Korea is a member state of SICA, and SICA deals with security issues in several dimensions, so-called several areas, and political and military area is very important. We pay special attention to nuclear issues, disarmament, because Kazakhstan set example worldwide, first by denouncing its nuclear arsenal after Soviet Union broke up and Kazakhstan became independent. We had fourth largest nuclear arsenal in the world, and Kazakhstan voluntarily given up its mighty weapon and has chosen road to progress, development, and well-being of its citizens. So for us, North Korean behavior is not welcome. We don't like, and we think that Korean Peninsula could benefit from our experience and build prosperous, peaceful, and friendly atmosphere here. And I think North Korean citizens deserve a better future.
Definitely. All right. Well, in light of President Yoon Suk-yeol's visit to Central Asia, we must mention Koryo-saram, meaning ethnic Koreans living in Central Asia. Our Song Yoo-jin explains how they've laid out a bridge between South Korea and the region.
The term Koryo-saram, meaning Koryo people, has two meanings. One refers to those who lived in the ancient Koryo kingdom on the Korean peninsula around 1,000 years ago. The other refers to ethnic Koreans who lived in the former Soviet Union and their descendants. Currently, there are around 500,000 Koryo-saram worldwide, with approximately 300,000 residing in Central Asia.
They call themselves Koryo-saram because they came from Korea before it was divided into North and South. The name Korea is derived from Koryo, also romanized as Koryo.
The first records of Koryo-saram date back to 1864, when, due to economic hardships, around 60 Koreans from Hamgyongdo province crossed the Tumen River to settle in Russia's Far East Primorsky Krai. Historians say this marked the start of Korean emigration. More people continued to move to the region, but in 1937, under Soviet leader Joseph Stalin's orders, over 200,000 Koryo-saram suspected of being Japanese spies were deported to Central Asia.
Forced relocation to Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan was treacherous. In the initial years, mortality rates were high, especially among children and the elderly, due to the cold, harsh weather, and lack of necessary infrastructure.
Despite these challenges, Koryo-saram persevered through what experts call their diligence. Working on collective farms known as koholds, they earned recognition and respect in their new homelands. Over time, many broadened their roles in society, becoming doctors, lawyers, teachers, and scientists.
The strong commitment of Koryo-saram to education was truly remarkable. They did everything they could to send their children to college, and if possible, even abroad to places like Moscow. Rather than staying in farming, these parents relentlessly pushed their children to pursue higher education.
What also makes Koryo-saram unique is how they preserve their Korean heritage and identity.
Their identity is maintained not through the most common ways of religion or language, but through traditional cultural practices. Even today, many Koryo-saram families follow traditional Korean customs in their daily lives, such as funeral ceremonies, often more intricately than those living in Korea, maintaining a sense of connection to their heritage.
Having endured more than a century-long journey of resilience and cultural preservation, Koryo-saram serve as a bridge between Korea and Central Asia. 송유진, 아리랑뉴스.
For those of you who have just tuned in, we are doing a special live coverage of the summit between South Korea and Uzbekistan. And we are waiting for the joint press conference to be delivered by the two leaders. But in the meantime, we are joined by Professor Bekishav. Welcome back again.
Thank you, Dami.
So, President Yoon Suk-yeol has called Uzbekistan a brother nation, which he hasn't called Turkmenistan or Kazakhstan. What makes Uzbekistan so special when it comes to, being that brother nation?
I would like to add to what I have said already, the point that probably Uzbek government paid special attention to, more attention than other Central Asian countries, to its friendship and cooperation with South Korea. Because Daewoo was probably first South Korean chaebol or company to enter Central Asian market, and it opened automobile assembly plant in Andijan in Uzbekistan back in 1994. So there is a reason for brotherhood, for deeper understanding and more efficient collaboration and cooperation between these two countries.
Right, and I do have to add that Uzbekistan is the only Central Asian country to be considered as the to have the special strategic partnership with South Korea. Now, speaking of Daewoo and also the economy, then how big is the portion that South Korean companies are taking at the moment in Central Asia? How big are they doing there already?
It depends on area or sector, so to speak. For example, in terms of cars, passenger cars, I think South Korean companies are number one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big compliment.
Yes, and home appliances, I think South Korean companies, LG Electronics and Samsung Electronics, I think competing very successfully with Chinese and other German companies in our markets.
Especially those are very competitive markets.
And since we are living in digital age,
Yes.
smartphones, I think Samsung is doing comparatively well in our markets.
Definitely. Well, we've discussed the summit results we are waiting for summit results for Uzbekistan summit, and we talked about Kazakhstan. Let's talk about Turkmenistan. That was the first stop of President Yoon's week-long Central Asia trip. Professor, how did you see that summit, the very first one?
I think that when President Kim Il-sung visited Uzbekistan back in 1994, there were no particular political exchange between South Korea and other Central Asian countries. South Korea came late to Turkmenistan, and I think you have exchanged embassy-level missions maybe 15 years back.
Wow. Professor, so the two leaders of South Korea and Uzbekistan have entered the room after their summit. It looks like the signing ceremony is about to be carried out in just a moment. So you are watching our special live coverage of the South Korea-Uzbekistan summit. The two leaders of the countries have just entered the room after their summit, and the signing ceremony is about to kick off.
Now begin the together with the two presidents of the two countries would like to start the MOU signing ceremony.
Olti dona tez yurar poyezdlarni yetkazib berish to'g'risida hadli bitimni imzolaydilar.
We would like to first have a signing ceremony between Hyundai Rotem and Uzbekistan Railway. The two representatives from the two countries, Mr. Lee Yong-bae and Zufar Narzulayev, who is the CEO of the Uzbekistan Railway, would come forward for the signing.
O'zbekiston temir yo'llari boshqaruv raisi Zufar Narzullayev hamda Koreya temir yo'l korporatsiyasi prezidenti Han-Mun-hi temir yo'l sohasida hamkorlik to'g'risida anglashuv memorandumini imzolaydilar.
Next, Korea Railway and Hyundai Rotem and the Uzbekistan Railway, they're going to sign the agreement. Mr. Han-Mun-hi from the Korail and his counterpart from Uzbekistan.
Sanoat qurilish bank boshqaruv raisi Aziz Akbarjonov hamda Eksport-import banki prezidenti Yun Hi-song banklar aro kreditlarni muvofiqlashtirish bo'yicha bosh bitimni imzolaydilar.
Next, Korea Export-Import Bank will sign an agreement with the Bank of Uzbekistan. The two representatives, Mr. Yoon Hee-sun and his counterpart from the Uzbekistan Bank, will sign the agreement.
O'zbekiston Respublikasi prezidentining Jahon savdo tashkiloti masalalari bo'yicha maxsus vakili Azizbek Urunov hamda Koreya Respublikasi savdo, sanoat va energetika vaziri An Do-gin Jahon savdo tashkiloti doirasida hamkorlik bo'yicha bayonnomani imzolaydilar.
Next, the two countries are going to sign on the agreement in terms of Uzbekistan's accession to WTO. The minister from Korea's Trade, Industry and Energy Ministry and his counterpart from Uzbekistan will sign the agreement.
O'zbekiston Respublikasi bandlik va kambag'allikni qisqartirish vaziri Bekzod Musayev hamda Koreya Respublikasi tashqi ishlar vaziri Cho Tae-yool kasb-hunarga tayyorlash sohasida anglashuv memorandumini imzolaydilar.
Next, Republic of Korea, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and his counterpart will sign on the MOU in terms of nurturing its capacities. Minister Cho Tae-yool and Minister from Uzbekistan will sign the agreement.
O'zbekiston Respublikasi transport vaziri Ilhom Mahkamov hamda Koreya Respublikasi yer, infrastruktura va transport vaziri Pak San-woo transport sohasida hamkorlik to'g'risidagi kelishuvni imzolaydilar.
Next, Republic of Korea, Minister of Land, Infrastructure and Transport will sign an agreement with the Uzbekistan Land Ministry. Minister Pak Sang-woo and Uzbekistan Transport Minister will sign the agreement.
Energetika vaziri Jo'rabek Mirzamahmudov hamda savdo, sanoat va energetika vaziri Andogin O'zbekistonda markaziy isitish tizimini modernizatsiyalash bo'yicha kelishuvni imzolaydilar.
Next, Republic of Korea, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy, as well as Housing, Infrastructure, Ministry of Uzbekistan, as well as District Heating Company will sign the MOU, and the representatives of the two sides will sign the MOU.
O'zbekiston Respublikasi Tog' sanoati va geologiya vaziri Bobur Islomov hamda Koreya Respublikasi savdo, sanoat va energetika vaziri An Do-gin noyob minerallar sohasida sheriklik to'g'risidagi kelishuvni imzolaydilar.
Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy of Korea and the Ministry of Minerals from Uzbekistan will sign an MOU. From Republic of Korea, we have Minister An Do-gin and the Minister from Uzbekistan will sign the agreement.
O'zbekiston Respublikasi investitsiyalar, sanoat va savdo vaziri Laziz Qudratov hamda Koreya Respublikasi savdo, sanoat va energetika vaziri An Do-gin savdo-iqtisodiy hamkorlik bo'yicha qo'shma qo'mita faoliyati to'g'risida kelishuvni imzolaydilar.
Next, Republic of Korea, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy, as well as Uzbekistan Investment Ministry, will sign on an agreement to activate investment between the two countries. Minister An Do-gin and Minister Laziz Qudratov will sign the agreement.
O'zbekiston Respublikasi Prezidentining kadrlar siyosati masalalari bo'yicha maslahatchisi G'ofurjon Mirzayev hamda xodimlar boshqaruvi vaziri Kim Sin-hu davlat xizmatchilari salohiyatini oshirish hamkorlik rejasi bo'yicha bitimni imzolaydilar.
Next, Republic of Korea, the Ministry of Personnel, together with the Ministry from Uzbekistan, will sign the agreement. The Minister, Kim Seung-ho, and Minister from Uzbekistan will sign an agreement to activate agreement between the two countries.
O'zbekiston Respublikasi investitsiyalar, sanoat va savdo vaziri Laziz Qudratov hamda Koreya Eksport-Import banki prezidenti Yun Hee-song 6 dona tez yurar elektr poyezdlarini yetkazib berish, o'rta maktablarga fan, axborot kommunikatsiya texnologiya uskunalarini yetkazib berish hamda Farmapark farmatsevtika klasterini rivojlantirish bo'yicha bitimlarni imzolaydilar.
Next, Korea Export-Import Bank and Uzbekistan government will sign on an agreement to regarding railway construction and regarding construction of schools. So Mr. Yoon Hee-sung from the Korea Export-Import Bank and the Minister for Infrastructure and Industry of Uzbekistan are signing the agreement.
O'zbekiston Respublikasi investitsiyalar, sanoat va savdo vaziri Laziz Qudratov hamda Koreya Respublikasi bosh vaziri o'rinbosari, iqtisodiyot va moliya vaziri Che San-mok iqtisodiy taraqqiyot hamkorligi jamg'armasining EDCF 2024-2027 yillarga mo'ljallangan kredit mablag'lariga doir hadli kelishuvni imzolaydilar.
Next, Republic of Korea, the government and government of Uzbekistan will sign on basic agreement. And Mr. Che Sang-mok, the Minister of Economy, and the counterpart minister in Uzbekistan will sign the agreement.
O'zbekiston Respublikasi Tashqi ishlar vaziri Baxtiyor Saidov hamda Koreya Respublikasi Tashqi ishlar vaziri Cho Tae-yol vazirliklar o'rtasida 2025-2027 yillarga mo'ljallangan hamkorlik dasturini imzolaydilar.
Next, Republic of Korea, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Foreign Affairs for Uzbekistan will sign on an agreement in terms of future cooperation between the two countries. The ministers are going to sign the MOU.
O'zbekiston Respublikasi prezidenti Shavkat Miromonovich Mirziyoyev janobi oliylari hamda Koreya Respublikasi prezidenti Yun Sok-yol janobi oliylari O'zbekiston Respublikasi bilan Koreya Respublikasi o'rtasida alohida strategik sheriklikni yanada chuqurlashtirish va har tomonlama kengaytirish to'g'risida qo'shma bayonotni imzolaydilar.
Next, between the two countries, Republic of Korea and Uzbekistan Republic, are going to sign on the joint agreement in terms of cooperation between President Yoon Suk-yeol and President Shavkat Mirziyoyev.
Shuningdek, tashrif doirasida madaniyat va qishloq xo'jaligi sohalarida hujjatlar ham imzolandi. Hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, shuning bilan imzolash marosimi o'z yakuniga yetdi. E'tiboringiz uchun tashakkur.
마지막으로 대한민국 문화체육관광부와 우즈베키스탄
Ministry of Tourism and Culture will sign an agreement with its counterpart in Uzbekistan, and also the Ministry of Agriculture have signed an agreement with a counterpart in Uzbekistan. Next, we would like to make a press statement.
Hurmatli ommaviy axborot vositalari vakillari, xonimlar va janoblar. Avvalambor Koreya Respublikasi prezidenti hurmatli Yun Sok Yol janobi oliylariga yurtimizga amalga oshirilayotgan davlat tashriflari uchun bildirgan
and the delegation from the Republic of Korea
samarali muzokaralar uchun chin qalbimdan minnatdorchilik izhor etaman. Alohida aytishim kerak emas, tor doirada ham, kengaytirilgan doirada ham ommaviy axborot vositalari bilinglarki, hamma masalalar bir-birimiz bilan kelishib, bironta
the discussions that we have had, I'm very glad that it went very well as planned. And it is very meaningful that we expanded our bilateral cooperation.
Jadal taraqqiy etib borayotgan bizning
not only the cooperation, but our two countries are developing very well. And although we are far away in terms of location, we have always paid attention to the close cooperation, and we have actively developed the industries, and I'm very glad that we have seen fruitful results.
Kun sayin o'sib bormoqda desam aslo mubolag'a bo'lmaydi va biz
we could say
mana shu
that
strategik sherik mana shunday natijalardan juda xursandmiz.
The strategic partnership between the two countries are very strong, and it is getting even stronger with today's signing. And our achievements that we have made, I would like to say that we are very proud of. Honorable President Yoon and delegations we would like to, and I'm very sure that we are going to bring our relationship to a further level and advance it even more. And through today's MOUs, our trade volumes that has been high will become higher.
Hurmatli prezident janoblari o'zlari bilan juda katta biznes delegatsiyasini yurtimizga olib kelganlarini meni ayniqsa xursand qildi. Bugun Koreyaning 80 dan ortiq yetakchi kompaniyalari ishtirokida bo'lib o'tayotgan biznes forum va tayyorlangan 9-10
state visit by President Yoon, I am very glad to welcome him in Uzbekistan.
Qudratli shiddat bag'ishlashiga albatta ishonaman.
And more than $10 billion of new projects. I know that this will open up a new horizon between the two countries in terms of bilateral relationship. and the direction and strategy that will take us further will be developed, and especially the minerals and the fields of science and science and infrastructure. They are all included in the agreements of today. And we are going to step forward to our next level of cooperation. And we are starting numerous new projects. Infrastructure, urban planning are some of the few areas that we are going to cooperate closely with Republic of Korea. And in Uzbekistan, the highway project, highway construction project in Tashkent is in the pipeline. And with this active and brisk cooperation between the two countries, I know that this will be a success. And the Import-Export Bank of Korea and KOICA's support have been a great help. And until 2017, we have $2 billion program that has been completed, and I'm very glad. And I know that Korean companies, banks, and the people who are working very hard in Uzbekistan, I can say for sure that we are going to support their endeavors in the future. We will continue to do so. And medical field cooperation has been also successful, and we believe that this will be continued in the future. And in particular, we pay attention to the high interest in youth between the two countries for each other's countries. And therefore, with government's support, we are going to acknowledge and we're going to support the cooperation in the field of nurturing young talents in two countries. Together with President Yoon Suk-yeol, we have confirmed and agreed that it is very important to nurture our younger generation. Therefore, with this summit, and we are officially supporting the proposal for Republic of Korea to host a summit concerning the Mid-Asia. So, Uzbekistan's WTO accession and its progress, I would like to thank Republic of Korea for its support in this regard. And I know that, and I believe that the people, the Korean people who are living in Uzbekistan should be recognized for their hard work. And I know that this will be of great asset to the two countries. And we agreed upon holding various activities and exhibitions as well as events, including many different cultural events. And one of the important issues is that we have agreed upon a new model. So the cutting-edge technology and the innovative technologies will be the areas that we are particularly going to focus on in terms of cooperation so that our special strategic partnership could be brought up to the next level. And
rejalarimizning tezlashtirish uchun 3 tizimli mexanizm yaratiladi. Qadrli do'stlar, Koreyalik aziz mehmonlarimiz
accelerate our plans. We have made decisions to gather a group of members who are going to sit down for meetings to check on the progress.
Qalbdan yaqin bo'lgan xalqlarimiz abadiy do'stlik ko'prigini mustahkamlashga oldimizga qo'ygan baland marralarga birgalikda erishishga
taking this opportunity
e'tiborlaringiz uchun katta rahmat. Endi so'z navbatini mamnuniyat bilan Koreya Respublikasi prezidenti Yun Sok Yel janob olilariga beraman.
I would like to thank once again for his cooperation and his visit to President Yoon Suk-yeol. President Mirziyoyev, dear citizens of Uzbekistan, I'd like to extend my gratitude for your warm hospitality to our delegation. It is meaningful to be visiting Uzbekistan, which is one of the few special strategic partners of the Republic of Korea. Uzbekistan is developing dynamically under the outstanding leadership of President Mirziyoyev. And I am even more pleased to come and see it myself. Myself and President Mirziyoyev had met last year in September in New York, and that was the first summit, and today we held our second summit meeting. Two of us reflected on our bilateral relationship over the past 32 years and decided to develop our special strategic partnership to a future-oriented one. First of all, myself and President Mirziyoyev had decided to further expand cooperation in the infrastructure field, which has long been the key area of cooperation of our two countries. Today, contracts were signed, and amongst them was a contract that was signed to export Korea's high-speed rail vehicles. This is the first export case of high-speed rail vehicles developed with Korean technology, and it will contribute to the improvement of Uzbekistan's railroad infrastructure and lead to expanded cooperation in the overall railroad sector between the two countries, including high-speed rail cooperation. In addition, the signing of cooperation agreement on modernization of district heating in Uzbekistan has strengthened the basis for bilateral cooperation. I requested President Mirziyoyev for his interest to Korean companies' continued participation in Uzbekistan's national projects to create many best examples of bilateral infrastructure cooperation following Surgil gas chemical plant project, and we will continuously consult with each other, and this will continue. Second of all, we decided to maximize the synergies of supply chain cooperation between the two countries by combining Uzbekistan's abundant mineral resources and Korea's excellent technological capabilities. Tungsten and molybdenum are the key minerals, and including them, we signed on the core mineral supply chain cooperation partnership agreement and will actively work together to ensure that Korean companies are prioritized for the participation when economic feasibility is confirmed. We also agreed to work together to ensure that the Rare Metals Center project, under which the two countries are jointly developing refining technologies for the production of high-purity rare metal products, achieves mutually beneficial results. Third, we decided to expand cooperation in the fields of defense. Until now, the two countries have been working together in the areas of joint training, military medical technology, and military education, and this will be extended to the fields of defense equipment such as information and communications, cyber, border surveillance systems, and aircraft. Fourth, we congratulated the Uzbek National Children's Hospital, which is an exemplary case of health and medical cooperation of our two countries, on obtaining international accreditation, and welcomed the finalization of bilateral negotiations on Uzbek accession to the WTO and the signing of the agreement. The Republic of Korea, as the chair of the Uzbekistan WTO Accession Working Group, we are going to actively support the speedy accession of Uzbekistan. Fifth, myself and President Mirziyoyev had agreed that for national development, it is important to improve public administration services and cultivate the qualifications of civil servants. Up until now, the Uzbekistan government has shown great interest in Republic of Korea's education of civil servants and cooperation chances in public personnel administration. Against this backdrop, the two countries adopted the plan of cooperation on strengthening the capacity of the government of Uzbekistan and decided to closely pursue cooperation in this regard. Sixth, the two leaders discussed the recent situation on the Korean Peninsula and agreed to continue participating in the international community's efforts to denuclearize North Korea. And I expressed my gratitude to Uzbekistan for consistently supporting our North Korea policy as a leading non-proliferation country. Lastly, I explained to President Mirziyoyev in detail the K-Silk Road Cooperation Initiative, which is our government's first Central Asia strategy. And I also told him about our government's expectations and aspirations for expanding Korea-Central Asia cooperation. I'd like to take this opportunity to once again thank President Mirziyoyev for his full support for our initiative and our plan to hold the Korea-Central Asia Summit next year. And I thank him for this. The Republic of Korea will, based on this cooperation plan, will leap into the future together with Uzbekistan, a brother country that warmly embraced our Korean compatriots 87 years ago. Our government will faithfully implement the cooperation measures agreed upon with President Mirziyoyev today and further grow our special strategic partnership. I would like to thank President Mirziyoyev once again for his invitation and his warm hospitality.
So there, we just watched the joint press briefing by the leaders of South Korea and Uzbekistan. Let's discuss more about their agreement with Professor Bakishev. Welcome back. So lots to look forward to between the two countries. What's your take on this?
I think presidents looked natural. It seemed that it looked like a meeting of brothers, not only brothers, maybe relatives. It took great effort by both sides to prepare the summit. I know that Minister Park Chin visited Central Asian countries last year, June. And now Minister Cho Tae-yol has an excellent job to realize this summit meeting between leaders of 4 countries. I see, as in Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan, understanding is there, willingness is there, and leaders were talking about future. That's very important.
Definitely. All right, Professor Bakishev, thank you so much for joining us and your insight this afternoon. We appreciate it.
Thank you for the privilege.
Definitely. And we also thank you for staying with us throughout our special live coverage of the South Korea-Uzbekistan summit. More details coming up in our later newscast at 6 p.m. Korea time.